Unit 8, Lesson 1, Comparing Fractions. Math Journal, page 248. On this page, we are comparing fractions. For the first exercise, we're going to try to figure out if the fraction is less than or greater than. As we talked about this in class, and we reviewed it in class, I mentioned that you should look at the whole number first, the denominators, and then look at the numerator. This one, the first one's quite easy because it's out of the same, it has the same denominator, so it's 3 out of 5 or 4 out of 5. This one's quite simple to figure out. So 3 parts of 5 has to be less than 4 parts of 5. We can also say this is 60% and this is 80%. So this would be less than. Number 2 has a different denominator. We have 5 and 7. Remember, take a look at the fraction and try to determine if it's almost a whole, if it's half, or if it's less than half. 4 over 5 is almost a whole. It's almost 5 over 5. 4 over 7 is not almost a whole. A whole would be 6, almost a whole would be 6 over 7, or 7 over 7 would be a whole. This is closer to a half, because half of 7 is 3.5. So our answer here would be 4/5 is greater than 4/7. As we move on to number 3, we have 5/9 and 3/7. 5/9 is just over half, because half of 9 is 4.5, and 3/7 is just below half, because half of 7 is 3.5. So this is just above half, this one's just below half. Correct? So this one would be 5/9 is greater than 3/7. Okay, for the next one I will not give you the answer, but I do want you to take a look at some things. They're both almost a whole, 7/8 and 6/7. They're each only missing one to become a whole number. But as we talked about this before, when the number at the bottom is smaller, that means the number on the top, the numerator, has more value. So this number here, 8 and 7th, this numerator is greater, this denominator is greater than this denominator. That means this fraction, whatever you have at the top, the numerator, has lesser value than the numerators on this side. It's like the example of the pizza slices. So here we have 7 out of 8. And here we have 6 out of 7. I want you to think, and we'll check in class, to see which one is greater or which one is less than. For finding equivalent fractions, we're asked to cross out the fraction in each list that is not equivalent. This is easy to do because we can see, if we look at the first fraction, what do we have to do to the 3 to make it a 6? Multiply it by 2. What do we do to the 2? The same thing. 2 times 2 is 4. So this has just been doubled from this. Then what must we do to the 6 to make it 24? Multiply by 4. Is 4 times 4 18? No. So this value that we have here is not the same, does not fit. The number 18 would have to be 16. Let's check the last one. What do we do to the 6 to make it 30? Times 5, correct? Well, what would be 4 times 5? 20. So the only one that does not belong is the third one. Go ahead and use the same thought process to solve 6 and 7. On the next exercise, you'll use the same thought process to figure out if these are equal or not equal. This symbol means not equal. So let's see, what do we do to the 5 to make it 15? Multiply it by 3. So we must do the same to the top number, to the numerator. 3 times 3 equals 9, but this says 10. Are these equal fractions? No. Go ahead and do the same for number 9. 10 and 11. Let's see, let's help out with number 9. What do I do to the 8 to make it 24? Times 3, right? 8 times 3 equals 24. 6 times 3 equals 18. Is that an 18? No. So I'll do the same for this one, for 10 and 11. From 10, you're going from a bigger number to a smaller number. So you can use division. Or you can just work backwards and use multiplication from 8 to 24. For numbers 12 to 15, you are asked to give 3 equivalent fractions. All you have to do is whatever you do to the bottom, you must do to the top. So if you multiply 9 times 2, you must multiply 6 times 2. 9 times 2 is 18. 6 times 2 is 12. And that's 1 equivalent fraction. Go ahead and continue doing that with the rest of them. And for numbers 16 to 24, you have to find the missing number. Again, what did we do to 4 to turn it into 36? We multiplied it by 9. 4 times 9 equals 36. Do the same to the 3. 3 times 9 equals 27. Okay. Skip 17. Well, you must do it. But I know you can figure out what you did to the 5 to make it a 20. Do the same to the 15. And you'll find the value. On this side, for number 18, what number must you divide by 2 to get 5? Remember, a fraction is a division. So, you can also do it like this. To turn any number into a fraction, just put it over 1. What do we do to the 1 to make it a 2? 1 times 2. You do the same to the 5. 5 times 2 equals... For numbers 25 to 28, you will write if it's less than or greater than, using the same logic we used before. 2 over 5. Half of 5 would be 2.5. This is just under half. And what's half of 10? 5. So this one's just under half, and this one is exactly half. So which one is greater? Make sure you use the right symbol. This is less than. This would mean that the number on this side is less than the number on this side. And this one is greater than. That means the number on this side is greater than the number on this side. On page 251, you simply have to add fractions. Remember that we need a common denominator first, and we've already been given our common denominator, so we simply work with the top numbers. 3 plus 1 equals 4, and then we already have the fifth, so out of 5, 4/5. Let's go to one that does not have a common denominator. For example, number 9. Number 9, we have 6 and 8. Let's find the lowest common denominator. If we count by 6s, we will have 6, 12, 18, 24. If we count by 8s, we will have 8, 16, 24. There it is, 24 and 24. So our common denominator here is 24. What did I do to the 6 to make it into 24? Multiplied it by 4. So I must do the same to the 5. 5 times 4 equals 20. And what did I do to the 8 to make it 24? I multiplied it by 3. So I must do the same. Oops. I must do the same to the 5. 5 times 3 equals 15. And now I have 15 plus 20 over 24. Let me go ahead and erase these. Oh, I don't. Okay, I'll go ahead and erase that. So I got 20 plus 15 equals 40. How many 24s are in 40? 1. What's my remainder? 16 over 24. Can this be simplified? Of course it can. I will leave that up to you. Go ahead and simplify it. 16 over 24. Can this be divisible by 8? And can this be divisible by 8? For questions 11 to 12, you have to add mixed numbers. Remember, you can work with the mixed numbers and add them directly if you have the same common denominator, which you do. So here you have 1 plus 1 equals 2, and then 3 plus 1 equals 4, and just bring down the fifth. 2 and 4/5. Okay? Remember, the fractions will sometimes make another whole. Remember to add the whole and write the remainder at the numerator and keep the same denominator. From 13 to 18, you have to fix these mixed numbers that have been written. How many? Are there any more 7s in the 12? Yes, there's one more. Okay, so that will give me one more whole. So that will make this into a 6 with a remainder of 5 over, that's quite simple. Go ahead and do the same for these. And then from 19 to 21, okay, you are adding mixed numbers again with a common denominator. They've made this so easy for you. You don't even have to look for a common denominator. Okay, boys and girls, just do these 2 pages. The math boxes on page 252 we will do in class tomorrow.